Got the new governor gear in. So one easy way to test coil packs, it's pretty simple. I mean, there's other ways you can test it so you can get a better result, but just unplug it and start it. I mean, obviously you're not going to want to let it run too long, but just see what it's going to do. So as you can see there, just running on that cylinder, it still runs pretty good. It's not, you can tell it's not missing on that cylinder. So if we pull that one off, and we're on this side, so this one doesn't seem like it's working as well. So this is definitely a problem set, as you can tell by the spark plug. But as you can tell, it wasn't running as well on that cylinder. It was running at lower RPM and it just didn't sound as good. So now if I start it up on both, you can hear it's missing. So to give you a good idea here how you're really going to tell, I'll show you this on the one that now has the bad spark plugs in it. So this will show, so I mean, you're going to be able to tell that this will show you a spark plug or coil pack often. What's your bad side? So this side was the side that had the worst spark plug in it. So it should run like the other one did right now when it was on one cylinder. It doesn't want to. It's actually possible. Actually, this may have been the bad side. I could be wrong. This one is colder, so it's not going to want to run as well. Yeah, this one's too cold. It's not going to try. Well, it doesn't help that the plugs are bad. But you saw it run. I think I showed you it running on these two spark plugs, especially cold, and it was not happy. So you basically see what I mean there. It's a good way to see which one was the bad one, which actually I should keep trying. So it should fire on the one side now. Okay. So if it runs really bad now, we know this side is good, and that this side is bad. Okay. So now I know that this spark plug was bad, which on the other tractor it was on that spark plug was on this side. So we know to look at this side on our other tractor. I need to bring the toolbox up actually. Sorry, this might be a longer video, but hopefully this is a better video for you. in my last, not sure how many that were really just kind of boring and yeah, just boring. So we're looking at this side of the tractor. I got this coil pack here. Whoops. It's just a flower stand. Sorry for moving the camera so fast. So I'm going to swap the coil pack off of one of the other two machines and see if that makes a difference. But I do think it weird that both tractors had a richer cylinder on that side and leaner on that side. That's interesting. Okay, so I did just I took a coil pack from that 425 and put it on this 445. You might be able to switch the two sides to do this test, but I'm not sure if they are the same or not because they're kind of backwards from each other. I'm assuming they are, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I think they are different just a little bit. They might work, but they look like they're different. So I'm gonna test that and see if it doesn't make a difference. Well, anyway, I think I'll put the one off this tractor on that tractor and see if the E running follows to that tractor. That was dumb, I stopped the camera. So it's usually good to start it around a little below half throttle. Seems like it's doing better though. I don't know. Sometimes these 445 don't run great when you're cold, so I'll let it warm up and see what it does. So I'll put this one on. So the one with the wire with the line on it, which in this case is white. I don't even see it on that bottom wire there. That one went on the bottom side. So it looks like this one on the bottom side here. And on this machine, it does have a newer coil pack. I don't remember which side it is, but we put a new, I think it was probably used one on it when we got it. So I'll put this on and see how this goes. So this is interesting. So I've been letting it sit to let it warm up. I'd just like to make a point here. Take a look at the temp gauge. It's showing cold. And at the time, I figured that it had been running long enough and the engine should be warm no matter what. So I figured that the gauge or the sensor itself is broken. I did not give it much thought that it did move somewhat. I figured it's just possible that it can move and still be broken at the same time. Well, later I figured out in part 3
it'll probably end up being of this video series, that somebody had taken the thermostat out of the engine, and this could cause, obviously it's going to cause it to run way too cold, and it's never going to warm up under normal operating conditions, especially in this video that it was probably around 40 degrees that day, and it is a non-exceptionally large engine, so it was not going to heat up very well. And these engines do not run very good when they're cold. They run much better once they are warmed up. And being that it's always just running cold coolant through it, the computer is seeing cold as if the engine is still cold. So that could be why it is giving it too much fuel, and that could be the issue. So I'd just like to make that point. And yeah, so we'll see.
And this should be warmed up now, I think, to where it shouldn't be running like crap. But it's throttled up. I don't know if you see it there, but it's smoked a little bit, black, good fuel. When I throttled up like that, it's definitely running rich. Which I don't know. That could be an issue. Somewhere in the intake or the vents, valves, or it's just, yeah, something's not right. So I'm going to try this engine now and see if it runs worse with this other coil on it. Then I'll pull the plug, or pull one of the plugs off and see if that one does the same thing as it did before. I'll shut this one off so I can hear it. As you can tell so far, it's running good. That's a bad sign. So that means that if I pull this plug, the bad side, I start it, it should, for one cylinder, it should run good. Yep, I can hear it hitting every time. To make sure it gets all the fuel out. Quick start it up with both of them. Okay. Now pull this one. It's not really telling me much. kind of hard to compare really any of these tractors next to each other because every single one's different. I mean, like these 425s, they all run different, they all sound different, it's weird. This one idles too low to run it. Oops. Oops. Yeah, so I'll just keep screwing with this and see if I can figure something out. So I'm going to run a compression test now, see how the two sides compare. So I pulled both plugs out. There's tons of different ways people say the best ways to do it. I'm just going to, right now I'm just comparing the sides, so I'm not comparing to like a data chart or something. So really, as long as you do them the same and you don't have any variables, really it should be the same. So I just found a fuse. I'm guessing it was for the computer, but it also shut down the fuel pump, so then it won't try and run. So let's just see what we get. So we've got 225. Touch higher. Slowly going down, so yeah. About 225 on that one. So I'll do the same thing on that side and we'll see where it gets. So compression test resulted in about the same for both cylinders. Plus or minus like 2-3 psi. Nothing worth dealing with. I'll put the key on again. So now, that leaves possibly wiring, computer. Either of those are fun. So, think I will put coil packs back on their respective tractor, since it obviously made no difference, and start going from there. See if it's possible. I might swap the computer, EFI computer, from the other 445 and see if that fixes our issue, because then we know what it is. So a lot of things with this is just trial and error. So like the reason why those spark plugs are bad is obviously we have another issue like I was talking about earlier. Something caused those spark plugs to go bad. So if you don't fix that, it's just going to keep happening again. Bad spark plugs. So start with that, and I guess see where it leads us. Something I just noticed, that these wires, the two ends are different size, so you can't put them on wrong. The bigger one goes on the bigger tab, which is on the bottom, as you can see there. But, so interesting enough, so yeah, this is still acting up, but if I rev it up to clear out all the fuel, it seems to run good for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and then it'll start to, you can see it starts to blow more black smoke and starts to this again. And I thought, this coolant hose felt a little hard. Could just be me. Feels okay now. I thought it felt a little harder when it was running. So with these exposed fuses, it's always good to check, make sure they're clean. So I just pull them out. I already did these, but oftentimes they'll look dull, not shiny. And then I just get some sandpaper, sand down till they're shiny like that. And then I run them in and out of their little spot a couple times just to make sure there's like dirt or something built in there. But if that's your issue, you'll know because it'll